Good morning. Well, I've popped out for a short walk. As some of you may know, my other half has had an accident and broken her ankle. She's at home now, but all in plaster and struggling to get around. So camping's off the table at the moment. So I've just popped out for a little bit of fresh air, a bit of a walk, while I know she's safely installed on the sofa. I've come to a location, and you know me, I don't normally give my locations away, but I'm going to this one. It's a really, really nice spot, and it is public access. You can come here. So through the video, I will be popping up maps of the area, places where you can park, you know, things like that. It's a nice woodland on the edge of the High Weald. The High Weald, as some of you will know, was a massive woodland. Forest, I suppose you would say. Covered most of Sussex if you went back to Roman times. Very, very thick. But over the centuries, it's been cleared for farming and that sort of thing. But there's still very large pockets of it left. This being one of them. The nearest place to where I am, because I'm out in the middle of nowhere, is the village of, let's have a think, Beckley, I suppose, but you'll see that on the map. This is divided up. It's a very large portion of woodland, as I say. A lot of it is very wild. This section I'm in now is actually managed, and it's got high deer fencing all around it, because there is a lot of deer and that sort of thing in here. There is even sightings of wild boar in here. So this is a bit different. So I'm going to wander in this bit first and then go into the main woodland afterwards. Or that's my plan, really. Right, enough talking. Let's do some walking. I just thought I'd show you this fence, the lengths I have to go to keep the deer out, because they can jump pretty well. Now, bear in mind, I'm 6 foot tall. Eight foot, something like that. Well, it really is a beautiful morning. Now I've got away from the path a little bit and into the woodland. Very undulating surface here, where the streams and that worked their way down through. And there was probably a certain amount of iron ore digging in the area. Sorry about the sun there, can't help that. And also over the years there was an awful lot of charcoal production in this area, so a lot of charcoal pits. So you often get very lumpy bits of woodland like this. That's a nice little pond, I suppose you'd say, where all the water drains down into this part. Very silty and mucky, of course, because of all the decaying leaves and things in it. And I suppose the other thing, if you was in this area in the middle of the summer, mosquitoes would really be a problem. But this time of year, it's very pretty. It's nice to see the woodland all coming to life, all the flowers coming out. It's a lovely time of year. Right, I've left that fenced off area and come into the main woodland. Fence line's about 100 metres through that way, so you can't see it, it's too thick. Panning round this wide fire break, leads directly up to where the car's parked. So that's always a good reference to find your way back out. And this side, it just goes on for miles. It's lovely. Not much in the way of footpaths. You literally just sort of forge your own way. That's where most of the deer and the occasional wild boar will be found. Oh, you hear that? And pheasant by the sound of it. Morning, Mr. Pheasant. Now I'm going to leave the main track and take this little muddy side path. I think this is the right one. I haven't been in here for a long time, so it's all sort of working on my memory, which, as some of you will know, is sketchy at the best of times. But there's something I'm actually looking for, and if I follow, if you can see, that ditch, there's a small stream running down there. I've got a funny feeling if I stay on this left bank, I'll be in the right spot, he says. I'll find out when I get there. I found Mr. Pheasant. Can you see him? Chilling out in the sunshine. And of course the noise is this waterfall. And that's basically what I was looking for. So I'll try and get down in that gully, but it's really slippery underfoot. Now, we don't get much in the way of waterfalls around here, but in this spot, obviously the stream's been running for years and years and years. It's worn away all the surface dirt, and we're down to the sandstone rock. But sandstone's pretty soft. Eventually it'll wear that away. So yeah, it's quite unusual around here, but it's just a nice little spot. And I can smell wild garlic. What a lovely combination. Right, time to head back up out the valley. I came in down there, but it is so wet and slippery. It was skiing. I had a job to stay on my feet. So I'm going to follow the valley through that way and see if I can find a shallower spot to get out on. First wild garlic of the season. Oh yeah. Take that outed dirty bit off. If you haven't tried it, give it a go. Tastes like a mixture of sort of garlic and spring onion, which I suppose is what it is really. I'll just adjust you up, just so people say, oh, you didn't really eat that. Yes, I bloody did. Lovely. Goes great in a salad. Right, I think I've spotted a way out of this valley without breaking my neck. You can see the big old chunks of rock that's been washed downstream here, along with all this debris here, because it's only a little stream at the moment, but when we get a lot of rain, it runs pretty impressive, washes all the rubbish downstream. Now looking up that way, it's a bit bright. Hang on, let's see if I can adjust that. He says. Up there, looks like there's a bit of a chute up the bank there. Probably one of the tracks that the deer use to come down to the water. I think that's going to be my best way out. Well, that's halfway up. You can see how steep-sided the cut is here, that water's eroded over the years. That's 50, 75 feet. Obviously taken thousands of years to do it, but it's still quite impressive what water can do. I'm halfway up the slippery slope. That looks like the sort of the shallowest to climb. So try and get back up here. Oh, my boots are filthy, and I'm in Kate's car, so I'm going to be in trouble. I'll try and get the worst of it off before I get back to the car. So there's no footpaths in here, but I'm sure you can see that. That's all the little trails that the deer and so on leave behind. Right, I'm going to have to forge my way up there somewhere. See if I can find a bit of a track that heads back towards that main fire break. That's easier going. Well, that was heavy going, pushing me away through all them brambles. But through the gap in the trees, one of the fire breaks. Now, this isn't the fire break I came in on. I think I'm slightly north, but they all run roughly east to west. So I'll just go west on this one, and if there's an opportunity to turn left, as it were, I will do. If I follow it and I end up on the back onto the road, well, I'll just turn left and walk down the road a bit. But yep, that's heading in the right direction. There's an interesting little spot just in there, but it's very wet and very boggy, and I'm already very muddy, so I'm not going to go in there. Not that there's that much to see unless you know what you're looking for, but I will tell you about it while I'm walking this very boring path. Yes, that spot in there. If you look on an Ordnance Survey map of the area, you can see there's a embankment marked, and it's basically like a square, not massive, but you know, reasonable size, obviously man-made. And what I believe it is an old den. Now, going back in history to medieval times, when people first started settling this area, they were farming on a very basic scale, and a lot of them kept pigs. And that was fine in the summertime, but of course come winter, when food was more scarce, they needed a food source for them. So in the autumn they would drive them, don't mean drive, herd them into the woodlands, the local woodlands. And each farmer had his own little spot that he used to go to every year. And the farmers would basically camp out for the winter in the woods with their pigs. So the pigs could be in here snuffling up all the acorns and stuff like that to keep them going over the winter. And because they went back to regular locations, obviously they made like big campsites really. And these areas, oh it's muddy here, these areas where they went to regularly were called dens. I think it's Anglo-Saxon for like enclosure, basically. I think it's the nearest translation. And that's why if you look on a map of this area, a lot of the villages end in den. Horsemen den, play den, like, you know, little places like that. Even some of the bigger towns, Tenterden. It's because eventually they turned into sort of permanent dwellings rather than just visiting. Oh, muddy here, hang on. Jump over that. Ooh. Yeah, they ended up as permanent dwellings rather than just visiting in the winter, and actually turned into eventually villages, small towns. So yeah, there's a lot of dens around here on the end of the place names. The other one, of course, we get a lot of is a lot of them end in Hurst. Hawkhurst, Salehurst, etc, etc. Again, more Anglo-Saxon, or of that sort of period at least, Old English, let's say that. And Hurst, being roughly translated, basically means wood. And as you've seen, we're not exactly short of woodlands around here. So yeah, there's a lot of village names ending in Hurst because they're surrounded by woodland. Quite an interesting history of the area actually. If I remember, I'll stick a link up, a card thing up here, and link a video about the history. Not one of mine, not my old tat, you know, a proper one. And anything else that's relevant to this area that I can find on YouTube, I'll stick on the end of the video, on the, you know, the end screen with clickable links. Oh Christ, it's muddy here. I'm back on the right path now, heading back towards the car. Nice. What a lovely area. I could spend hours, or if I had my kit with me, I could spend days in here. It's really nice. Let me give you a final look round. Right, that's the fenced off side where I started. There's the access track. Just up round that corner is where the car's parked on the lane. And this is the sort of more wild section. Lots of streams in here. If you come in, find any of the streams, keep following them downhill, you'll find that waterfall. Right, back to the parking area. And if you've made it this far, thanks for watching, all of it. I know it wasn't over exciting, but hey, that's all I can manage at the moment. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you on my next video, whatever that may be.